Alright, so today we are going to talk about JavaScript and web programming in general. JavaScript is one of those great languages that serves two purposes for the beginning programmer. If your ultimate goal is to program for the web, JavaScript is the thing to know. A lot of the web runs on JavaScript. You just don't see it. It's running in the background. So you have to know JavaScript to do good web programming, or a lot of web programming. But the great thing is, if you're not an experienced programmer, JavaScript is a relatively basic and fairly easy to understand language, so it's a great entrance language for a beginning programmer. If I'm teaching a child, I tend to start them between grades 2 and 4, second and fourth grade, with MIT's programming language Scratch, and then once they graduate from that around, say, 5th grade, I would put them into JavaScript as their first language. But for an adult, you can jump right into JavaScript, and with a little diligence, you can learn programming straight from JavaScript. So with that, let's actually write a short JavaScript program so that you see what we're talking about. And one of the great things about most of these web programming languages, you don't need a whole lot of tools to do it. There are fancy tools that help you to program, but I'm going to write this program in Microsoft's Notepad. So let's jump right in, and we need to write some HTML first because that is how most of these things get started. So I'm going to tell the computer I'm writing in HTML, and everything between that HTML and this /HTML is, surprise, surprise, going to be HTML. Now these are called tags. This is a closing tag because it has a slash in it. This is an opening tag because it doesn't have the slash. And the computer now knows that everything in between those two tags is going to be HTML. So what I'm going to do is write a header. So that head, H-E-A-D, and /H-E-A-D. So now it knows everything between those two is going to be the header. And then I'm going to write a body. So now it knows that everything between there and there is the body of the HTML program. So this is going to open up in a browser. It's going to see it's HTML. It's going to know where the head and body are. But let's put a title on this thing, T-L-E. Build it. Labs. JavaScript. And since I open that tag, I need to close it. Oops. To close it. So now it knows that everything in between here and here is the title. So what do I want this thing to do? Well, what I want it to do is to print a. Let's have it put a little button on the screen for us to click on. So we're going to say input type equals button, and let's have it write something on that button. Value equals click me, and then once it's clicked on the click, do something that I haven't told you how to do yet. Click pop. So the computer through HTML knows that I'm asking, I want it to ask me for input. I want it to ask me for input using a button. I want it to write click me on that button, and then once it's clicked, I want it to do this thing called pop-up. Now this type, this value, and this onClick are things that the computer already knows through HTML. But pop-up is something that it doesn't know. It's something that I'm going to have to tell it how to do. Now how do I do that? I do that through JavaScript. So it's reading through this. It said, okay, this is all HTML, but now I want to switch to JavaScript. So I'm going to tell it, by the way, I'm switching now to something that I'm going to write in JavaScript. And everything between that and /script is going to now be in JavaScript. So what am I going to write? I'm going to write a function called popup. Now remember down here I said do this thing called popup, but you don't know how to do it yet. Up here, I'm going to actually tell it what to do. I'm going to tell it a function, which is a set of instructions, and it's going to say, oh, I know how to do pop-up now because you told me how to do it. And this is JavaScript, so this is going to be written in JavaScript. And much like these tags that we had for HTML, remember this is the beginning of the title, this is the end of the title. That's a tag in HTML. In JavaScript, when I'm writing a function, this curly brace and this curly brace tell JavaScript where the beginning of that function is and where the end of the function is. So what is pop-up going to do? It's going to alert me by saying, what should it say? Well, hello there. Alright, and that should be it. I think that should work. Let's actually test to see if it works. Save that onto my desktop and we'll call that javascript.html. Save that. Let's minimize this. And there it is. Now let's run it. Oh, and there it is. So it pulled up a Chrome browser, because that's my default, and said, there's the title, Build It Labs JavaScript. Where we told it to give it a title, Build It Labs JavaScript, and then we told it give me an input type button that said click me, and then on click run this pop-up. Well, let's click it and see if it runs that pop-up. Click me. Oh, there's the pop-up. Alert. Well, hello there. So there you go. You've written a basic JavaScript program. Well done. I think you can see that it's actually not as scary as you thought it was, and if you need help, drop by builditlabs.com. We've got a couple of tutorials up and there will be more on the way. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you give JavaScript a chance. Talk to you soon. Good luck on your programming journey.